Yes, I'm still here, Hollywood. And coming up on today's episode...
She's been part of show business royalty from the moment she opened her eyes. She grew up surrounded by greats, became one herself, and carved out a career that spanned Broadway, film, primetime drama, and one of the most beloved TV classics of its era. She's equal parts grace, wit, and quiet magic, the kind that made an entire generation believe that nannies could do far more than manage bedtime. This is Still Here Hollywood. I'm Steve Kmetko. Join me with today's guest, actor Juliet Mills from Nanny and the Professor. Hi, Juliet. Thanks for coming in today. I really appreciate this.
Hello, Steve. I'm happy to be here.
How long have you been acting?
Well, acting...
Maybe that's an indelicate question.
No, not at all. I made my film debut when I was 11 weeks old.
Wow.
In a film called In Which We Serve, which starred my father, and it was directed by Noel Coward, who was my godfather.
We can stop right there. That's more than most people can say.
Yes. But I can't say I was acting then. I was just a baby in the crib, of course. But I got billing, baby, Juliet Mills. So that was my start. I really started acting. The first thing I ever did was on stage. I played Alice in Alice Through the Looking Glass. It was like a Christmas seasonal thing that they have in England, you know. And it was at the Chelsea Palace, and I was 14. And so that was the very first. And then I did a play when I was 16 called Five Finger Exercise. And that started in London. Peter Schaffer's first play, huge hit, ran for over a year, then went to Broadway. And we played another 9 months or something there. So I really started in the theatre.
What did Peter... I'm trying to remember the
Equus.
That's it. I couldn't...
Amadeus.
Oh, yeah, just a few things.
Yeah, a few things, yeah. And this was his very first play, so...
Oh, my.
Yeah.
You gave him his start. Did you feel obligated because of the history of your family to become an actor?
Not obligated, but...
Destined?
Maybe that, without realizing, because we were brought up in that environment. Daddy seemed to always be having such a great life, such a great time, with wonderful, talented, beautiful friends, and actors, writers, you know. And it just sort of, it looked like a great life if you could make it. And Daddy always made it very clear to us that, you know, you have to have talent and you have to have luck to make it in this business. And if you're, you know, aware that it's not just going to be a bed of roses and you get a lot of rejection and you mustn't take it too personally or it'll ruin your life, you know, we were encouraged and I suppose inspired in that way, but yeah, it just sort of evolved. I went to a ballet school as a child, boarding school. It was an offshoot of Sadler's Wells, and I was there for 8-9 years. And when I left, I was going to go to RADA. I took an audition to go to RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London, but I got this audition as an experience. I was supposed to take an audition for Five Finger Exercise, and that sort of started me off.
When you think back on your career, is there what stands out to you? Is there anybody in particular that you worked with?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Billy Wilder.
Billy Wilder?
Yeah. Billy Wilder. I did a film with Jack Lemmon directed by Billy Wilder. That was definitely a highlight of my career and my life's experience working with brilliant people like that. You know, Jack was a brilliant actor, wonderful comedian, and Billy, of course, was, you know, I mean, a genius, actually.
Well, Sunset Boulevard,
Yes.
Some Like It Hot.
Yes, all
Yeah.
The Apartment, all those great,
Right.
great movies. And, the film was shot in Italy, on the Amalfi Coast, and in Rome at Cinecittà. And I had to put on 35 pounds, so I never stopped eating. I mean, it was just wonderful.
Italy's a great place to eat, to be if you have to eat.
Yes.
What do you credit your father with?
As far as my life,
Yeah.
his great enthusiasm for everything, for life, his teaching us about being grateful for our luck, for our good luck. And I think later in life, my guru said, to be grateful is one of the keys to happiness, keys to life, to be grateful. If you're feeling full of gratefulness, you're not angry. You can't be angry. You can't be frightened, really. He taught us that. He was always saying, whenever we would be on location with him or somewhere wonderful, meeting wonderful people, he'd say, aren't we lucky? We're all so lucky, and I'm so lucky to be making a living and doing something that I love, That was one of the great lessons he taught me, and he was a great enthusiast, and he had a great sense of humor, and of course, he and my mother were married for 67 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
And they were lovers always. They were in love. They used to write notes to each other, when they were going to London. He was going to London for the day. He'd leave her a love letter. 50 years on. And so we were brought up in a very happy, loving environment. And all of their friends were fascinating, beautiful, famous people. My godmother was Vivian Leigh. And my godfather was Noel Coward. So there's a start, and Dougie Fairbanks and Tyrone Power and Laurence Olivier. And the house was always full of these fascinating, talented, beautiful people. Of course, in retrospect, I think if I had only had a tape recorder going, what larks. But no, it seemed that they had a wonderful life and were very, very grateful. And if we could get into that life, then, if we could make a living acting, then we'd be very lucky. And Haley and I have been very lucky.
How is Haley?
She's very, very well.
What can you tell us about her today? Of course, many of us knew her from Pollyanna.
Yes, of course. Well, I'll tell you something that I'm sure you won't believe, is that next year she turns 80. And we're going over for her birthday, of course. She's actually at the moment doing a little a featured role in a Netflix series called The Age of Innocence, shooting in Prague. So, she works on and off, and she lives in London, and she loves to come here, and we go there, and she comes here at least once a year for a holiday in California. The Brits love the sunshine.
Mm-hmm. Even though they don't get much of it.
No, right.
Did you ever feel pressure to not to just succeed, but to succeed differently from your father and your sister?
No. Not really, no.
No competition?
Not really, no. The thing is that Haley, I started in the theatre, and that was that's where I was for many years, in the West End, working with the Royal Shakespeare Company, doing classical plays, and that was my passion and my love. She started very, very young. She was literally, I suppose she was 8 or 9 when she did Tiger Bay, which was the first film she did with my father. And so it was very, very different, the trajectory of our careers. I think probably now is the first time, now that we're both going to be in our 80s, that we might compete for a role for old ladies.
No.
But we haven't ever really been in competition, and we're both great admirers of each other. You know, I love and adore her and love to see her work, and she feels the same way. So there hasn't been, and as far as my father goes, well, he was just, you know, we absolutely adored him, and there was never any competition.
He won an Oscar, didn't he,
He did.
for Ryan's Daughter,
Yeah, he did.
which came relatively late in his life.
Yes, and he was so thrilled. I was with him that night
Oh, were you?
when he received that Oscar, and when they called his name, he jumped out of that seat like a jumping bean. I mean, he went straight up in the air. He didn't believe that he was going to get it. He didn't think he was going to win it. He wasn't like the favorite to win it. But of course, Ryan's Daughter that year won a lot of Oscars. Deservedly, it's a great movie. And
Epic.
Yeah, epic. David Lean, epic movie. It took 14 months to shoot that film in Dingle Island.
Typical of David Lee.
Yes.
I interviewed him once, and he had so many stories, from Dr. Zhivago and
Yes.
Lawrence of Arabia, Ryan's Daughter. My goodness, what a career.
What a career.
What was the best? Well, I think you probably told me already the encouragement you got from your family. What was the hardest part of growing up in the Mills family?
That's a good question. I think maybe when they'd go away, our parents would go away on location for weeks and weeks when they were filming, and we'd be at home with Nanny, and I think maybe that was one of the hard things. I don't think there was ever we ever felt there was a lack of privacy or anything like that. Although when we went anywhere, my father was a huge film star in England, and later here. But in England, he was a big star through the 40s, 50s, 60s. So there was that element of, when we went anywhere, that he was always recognized. So people would come to the table and interrupt, and maybe that a little bit. But I can't really think of anything much that's negative about.
You gained quite a bit of notoriety when you were starring in The Nanny and the Professor. What do you remember about that?
Well, it was a very, very happy time for me. I loved Richard Long. We worked very well together, the Professor. I was doing a play in London called She Stoops to Conquer with Tom Courtenay and Ralph Richardson. And David Gerber, who was producing Nanny, came to see the play, and he came round afterwards and asked me if I would test for this series in America. And so I did test, and I got it, and I thought, and they let me out of the play to do the pilot for 3 weeks. And I went back into the play, and then they said, yeah, we're good, it's a go. And I thought it would just be like 13 episodes or something. I didn't know. I was very green. I didn't have any idea what I was getting into, but I loved the part because I love magic. I believe in ESP. I like children to a certain degree.
In small doses.
In small doses. So it was to come to California and do it, it was all a plus. But I didn't realize really what a big step it was, what a big change to my life it would make, because it was, as you know, a big success globally, not just here. And we did 64 episodes, so it was almost 3 years. So it's really, I kept thinking I was going to go back to England, and I did go back and do some theatre and do a job or do something, a TV or a movie, but I kept coming back here, and the work seemed to be more here than there, and suddenly I found I was living in California, and I just love California.
So how long have you lived here now? Nanny and the Professor was in the 60s?
I see. During when I was doing Nanny and the Professor, I wasn't really totally here. I mean, I came to work and went back, and blah, blah, blah. So I suppose, no, actually, it wasn't in the 60s. It was, I think, 72.
Oh.
And then went on to 73, 76, something like that. No, 75, I think. And it was a big event in my life. And what was the question? I went off there.
I forgot it too. We're in the same boat. It just made a big difference in your life.
Yes, it did.
There was a lot of notoriety. I think I recall you being on magazine covers and
yes,
things of that nature.
Yes, and TV Guide, the cover of TV Guide.
Right.
And I didn't realize what a huge thing it was to do a series on a, ABC, and just what a high profile thing that was to do. I'd never been here. I didn't know about TV here. So it was quite a surprise to me that the success, and it was a big success because of ABC they took the night always. It was us, Brady Bunch, and Partridge Family, those three shows, and very successful.
And Richard Long, had you known him before then?
No, never met him before, no. He was a wonderful actor, lovely, lovely guy. We had a great relationship on and off. His whole family kind of embraced me. He had children and his beautiful wife, Mara Corday. I spent a lot of time with them because when I first came here, I didn't know anyone. I was just on my own, and I just adored Richard.
Do you remember where you shot that series? Where was that shot?
We shot it at Fox. And
on the west side?
Yeah. And on location around, that area. Fox was a huge lot then.
Yes,
before they sold it off to, all
bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
To pay the bills.
Yeah.
You've said, in fact, you mentioned it just a little while ago, you felt Nanny's magic. Do you remember the exact period when you felt you knew how she would carry herself?
I really put myself into her shoes. I really felt an affiliation with that character, that woman who appeared out of nowhere because the family needed her. It was a motherless family, 3 children, and a husband, a professor was working all the time. And I just felt I had a real identified with her. And I truly believe in ESP. I believe in magic. I believe in the afterlife. I believe in spiritual power, and so it all came very naturally to me. I don't actually talk to animals. Well, I do, but they don't talk back like they did for Nanny. Always talking to that sheepdog, Waldo.
He's a beautiful sheepdog.
He was.
He's a cutie. And we'll be right back. If you'd like to be more involved with us at Still Here Hollywood, you definitely can. Just visit patreon.com/stillherehollywood. You can support us for as little as $3 a month. You can get our episodes a day before they post anywhere else. You can see what guests will be coming up and submit questions for them. You can even tell us what stars you want us to have on as guests. You'll see what goes on before and after the episode, plus exclusive behind-the-scenes info, pics, video, and more. Again, that's patreon.com/stillherehollywood. How did the show affect your career trajectory at the time?
Well, it was huge, really, because suddenly I had a name, that was a recognised name, so I got more work. And then Aaron Spelling employed me non-stop. I mean, I did all of his shows and all the TV shows, really. I mean, practically all of those episodic, that's what happened. You did all those, and you did all the game shows, Hollywood Squares and Password, all those things. So I was suddenly a personality, a name recognizable, which was the first for me. So and I, work-wise, I got very interesting work. I actually, Avanti, which was the Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon film, that came about because Billy saw me in a play many years before in London and said, one day we'll work together. And I thought, ha, yeah. But we did. But I think probably he was able to sell me to the studio for the lead opposite Jack Lemmon because I now had a name because of Nanny. I mean, I literally only finished Nanny about less than a year before I did Avanti for Billy. So it was definitely, it changed everything for me, that series, really.
Billy, I saw an interview with Billy once, a lengthy, unedited interview. He was such a funny man. He had a sense of humor, yes.
So funny. And it wasn't as though he told jokes or things, or he told a few jokes, but it was his observations and perception of life and people he was so witty, so funny. And of course he wrote all those wonderful scripts that you mentioned, Some Like It Hot and all that, brilliant wit. Oh, he and Jack together. I mean, I felt so fortunate to spend time with those two guys and their wives in Rome at dinner, because Billy wanted me to have dinner with them every night to make sure I ate plenty of spaghetti so that I kept my weight up. Well, it wasn't hard. So I really spent a lot of time with them as well as working with them, and it was an education and great fun. They were both very funny, but Billy was brilliant.
How would you describe the theater scene in London?
Now or
Now.
Now, I think very healthy, very, very strong. I mean, it's like Broadway. It sort of has come back since COVID. Things went down very much theatre-wise during the COVID, obviously, because a lot of theatres were shut altogether, closed, and it took time to come back. But now I think theatre in London is very, very strong, and in New York too. New York's right back. Broadway's right back. Very expensive now, but
It sure is.
oh my goodness, we just were there actually, as we were invited by Pete Townsend to see the rock ballet, his rock ballet of Quadrophenia. And it was playing for 4 nights at City Centre. And so we went in for that. We treated ourselves to go to New York to see that, because we were invited. And we also saw Just in Time, which is the Bobby Darin musical.
Right, with Jonathan Groff.
Yes. If you go to New York, you'll have to see that. He's only in it till March. And it's a marvellous show.
He's really burst onto the scene.
Hasn't he? Yeah. Yeah, we saw him first in Spring Awakening, which he I think that was his first Broadway appearance. But, and all the music, that Bobby Darin period, it was wonderful.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful show. Yeah, London's humming. London's humming.
I tend to think, as I think a lot of people do, about London being the birthplace of popular theater. Do you agree with that?
I think so, because we go back so much further than you do here.
Right.
Historic. I mean, theatre in London started with the Old Globe and Shakespeare. So historically, we definitely started the trend. I think so.
Is there back to Nanny for just a second?
Yeah.
Was there a moment from filming the show that fans would be surprised to know actually happened behind the scenes?
I think probably, there was always a curiosity, especially about, the professor and I, as far as we seemed to get on so well, but nothing ever really seemed to happen romantically. And I think that the audience began to really wonder about that and want something to happen. But in those days, television was much more prudish, as you probably remember.
Right.
I had to wear a sort of long white nightgown with long sleeves and a high neck if I was seen in my bedroom or anything. I never could make the professor a scotch and soda. I had to make him a cup of tea. We couldn't, they didn't let that progress, that relationship, which I think actually the fans wanted. And that was the one thing behind the scenes that they were always saying, isn't he falling for you? Aren't you falling? You're such a good friend. You have to, blah, blah, blah. And it never went that way. I think if they had started writing a romantic relationship that grew out of this respect for each other, then probably the show would have continued for a bit longer, I think.
Would you have been prepared to go on with it?
I would. I had a ball. It was the first time I'd worked here. I was starring in this show, a wonderful company, the crew and everybody. It was like a big family, But we wouldn't have been able to go on too long because, Richard Long died within a year after we finished. He had a heart problem. He knew he had a heart problem, but he didn't look after himself. He smoked 2 packs a day or something, and loved his booze at night. And he said he had a heart attack when he was 30. So he knew that He said, "I want to do it my way." He said that. He knew that, but I was still very shocked when he died. He was 47, I think.
Ooh, very young.
Very.
When you first read the script for Nanny and the Professor, what hooked you?
Well, her sort of magical character, the fact that she just appears on the doorstep in this sort of policeman's hat and a cape. I mean, a British Bobby's hat, So, deer stalker, I suppose it was. The whole idea of this woman who comes and looks after this family by and has these sort of premonitions, and I wrote one of the scripts myself.
I was going to ask you, how much contributing did you do to the stories?
Yeah, well, later on, in the second year, I did contribute quite a bit, and I actually did write one whole script, which I was very proud of, and they wrote a script for my father. He came and did a guest shot, which was wonderful. He played my Uncle Alfred, who was a cat burglar.
Really?
Yes. No, it was, and we shot a lot in Rancho Park there by Fox, and I was renting a house right there by Fox, and it was a very happy time, and it just, her character appealed to me. We agreed on a lot of things. We thought the same way, and of course, the more I was doing it, the more it became me and I became her, and it just all one.
Did you enjoy the notoriety that came with the film or with the TV series?
Yes, I did, I suppose. But it was new to me in the sense that it was me that was the center of attraction, as you might say. But I'd been brought up where it was always, my father was always, so I I think I dealt with it pretty well.
You knew how to behave.
I knew how to behave and didn't let it go to my head, and felt very fortunate to have such a wonderful part and be surrounded by a lot of very talented, lovely people and be paid for it. I mean, you know.
That's always the nice thing about a job you like.
Yes.
Getting paid.
Yes.
Have younger generations found you? What with all the streaming and everything?
I suppose, well, I think the younger generation found me a little bit in Passions, which is the soap I did for NBC, playing the witch, Tabitha the Witch. And we did that for nearly 9 years. So there was a whole nother generation that found me there, I think. But I don't know about this younger generation. No, only in reruns of, you know, Man from U.N.C.L.E. and things like that. I do get a lot of, it's surprising how many people watch those old shows now who are younger.
Do people come up to you and talk to you about those shows?
Yes, they do.
They do? What do they say?
They say, "Oh, we love you."
It's a lot better than, "Oh, we hate you."
We love that show. Oh, yes. And people like to reminisce about those times. And if you're a part of those times and their happy childhood, that's really a gift. You know, that people come up and say, "Oh, you made my childhood. I just loved Nanny, and I just wanted to have a nanny like that." And we used to watch it with the whole family, and it was a happy time. You know, I'm part of a happy time in their life. And so they're very happy to see me. And when someone's happy to see you, when they say, "Oh, you made my day," I mean, that's a gift to make somebody's day who you meet in Vaughn's. You know, it's...
Do you shop at Vaughn's?
Yeah.
No kidding. What era of your life feels the most like you?
Area of my life?
Era.
Era of my life feels most like me. Oh, my goodness, that's a hard one, Steve. I suppose when I met Maxwell and fell in love, and we got married, and we worked together, and then his career was absolutely flying, and he was doing all sorts of wonderful things, and I stopped working for a while, and we moved to a ranch in just north of Carpinteria, which is on the coast, just south of Santa Barbara. And I stopped working for a while, and I think that period was most like me. I was completely happy. Maxwell was working and was my dream of a husband. And we lived in a beautiful place, and I am a very domestic animal. I love to be at home. I love to cook. I love to garden. I love to arrange flowers. It's all a hobby. Homemaking is really my biggest love. And looking after my husband and my children, that makes me happier than any job I've ever done. So I think that period was really when I was most just me and completely fulfilled.
What would you like to do now in terms of work?
Not much. I still like to sort of dream of working in the theatre, and I love working. Maxwell and I work in the theatre quite a bit in England. We've done a lot of tours in England with plays, which we love to do. I still love to do that. I'm not very ambitious anymore. I'm very happy not working, actually. I don't have a film I want to make, or if a job comes along and it's interesting and fun and I can make some money, I'm happy to do that. But I'm not thinking, oh, what can I do now? Oh, I'd love to be working. I'm very happy not working, actually.
Retirement suits you?
Yes. But I don't use that word, though.
What
because
word do
one
you-
has to be...
What word do you use?
resting.
Resting. Pausing. We'll be back for more in a moment. What do you hope people understand about Juliet Mills that they've learned along the way?
That she's a very positive person, and that optimistic, and believes in anything's possible, and one has quite a lot of power over your own life and your own destiny. Good sense of humor, good cook. Yeah, that's sort of it.
What's your favorite dish to make?
Roast chicken and roast potatoes and veg.
That sounds good.
And I like to make Italian food. I like to make pasta, and our daughter's a chef, actually, so she makes a lot of wonderful food. But I've always loved to cook, and Maxwell says I'm the best cook in the family.
Okay, Juliet, think back. Who made the first move?
Made the first move? Wow, that's interesting. Well, I think the first move, I think he did. I think he did.
We could get his side of the story since he's right here.
Yeah.
Maxwell?
Okay.
Oh, how lovely to see you.
Yeah, I've been
here.
eavesdropping. Good to see you, Steve.
Good to see you too.
Thank you. I've been told to sit right here.
Who made the first move?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that question. Yeah, be comfortable, sweetheart.
Yeah.
My recollection is we were doing The Elephant Man, rehearsing it in New York City, and going to go down and do a winter tour of Florida. And Juliet's girlfriend, Natalie Wood, I'm dropping names here now, was appearing. She was in town to do some advance publicity, wasn't she?
Yeah.
For her big sci-fi movie. And the ladies wanted to hook up, and she asked Juliet to come with her to a Broadway theater to see a Harold Pinter play with a great cast: Roy Scheider, Blythe Danner, and Raul Julia. And I was, long story short, bottom line is that Natalie was staying at the Pierre Hotel. And as we got out of the cab to cross the road to go up to Natalie's suite before we went over to go down to Midtown to see the show, Juliet slipped her hand into mine as we crossed Fifth Avenue.
So
That's how I
held
recall
hands.
it.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
I was thinking that. Held hands.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the first. But the other thing, and it wasn't make a move exactly, but when we were in rehearsal, and I was playing Mrs. Kendall, and he was playing the Elephant Man, which is an amazing thing anyway. But and the director said to him, well, you just think Mrs. Kendall is just so beautiful. And he said in front of the whole rehearsal room, all the actors, he said, well, I do think Juliet's beautiful. And I just
There you go.
melted in that was, if you call that a move, that was one. And the other one was holding hands as we crossed the road to go into the Pierre Hotel. We held hands, and it just felt so right holding his hand.
She'd invited me. She said, I'd like to bring the actor I'm currently working with. And Natalie said, sure, bring him along. And so I think Natalie probably got the picture pretty fast.
Well, she maybe got it before us, because all we'd done is hold hands and
That's true.
working
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
You know.
But did you get that electric shock? You know, that charge that goes through your whole body when you hold hands with someone that you're
Oh, yeah, I was
Yeah.
definitely...
sweet on?
Yeah. Well, she knew I was a James Dean fanatic, and therefore, by extension, obviously Natalie Wood was certainly
Right.
was part of that pantheon. So it was kind of clever. She just said, make sure you keep your eyes on me tonight and don't get caught up with Ms. Wood, you know. But there was no chance. I was absolutely smitten with Juliet. And the idea of being cast opposite Phoebe Figurelli was like a fantasy, frankly. I'm glad you've talked about that particular character so extensively.
Were you aware of the age difference?
You know, it didn't occur to me, and Juliet maintains to this day, it really didn't occur to her either. She had such a youthful quality, always has, always will do. It's presumptuous of me to even think that I was going to, you know, hook up with her. That wasn't really where it was at. It happened so fast. It caught us both off guard, needless to say. And
we didn't think about it. We didn't talk about it either. It was just two people who just communicated on such high level in different ways. We had so much in common. Of course, we were both English to start with. We're both actors. And we just had a communication instantly. It was like saying, hello, where have you been? I know you. You know, and I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe in past lives.
Well, your sister has that theory, because Juliet was a twin, and the twin was born prematurely. It was male, and your mum lost the boy about 6 months, right?
Yeah, and I held on.
Yeah,
They said she thought she'd lost one baby, and they said, oh, wait a minute, there's another one in there hanging on, and that was me.
Little tough nut. But Haley has theorized that was, you know, if you get into the whole reincarnation or the concept of, you know, symbiosis or what have you.
And do you get into it?
I don't believe you were the twin. No.
Okay, well, that shoots that theory down.
No, I believe I knew you in some relationship in another life. That I believe. Yeah, I do.
Yes, okay, fair enough.
Because you know, Steve, sometimes you meet somebody that you know them instantly. You have a connection with that person that goes beyond just saying, hello, this is so-and-so, and this is... You know them better than that. And that's one of the things I do believe was another time.
Did you face any friction from people like in the business or friends or family saying you're making a mistake?
So John, you'd have thought her parents would have been the ones naturally concerned, but they were so open-minded about it. They were so happy for Juliet's happiness. They didn't put up any impediments. I don't think anyone was. People weren't necessarily advising you, and because Juliet was already so sort of beloved on a national public scale, they didn't come gunning for us. And people like Merv Griffin brought us onto their show and sort of
early on,
and
before we
and Oprah Winfrey brought us on, and we weren't afraid to face the music and you know, have a discourse. We were actually on stage in Chicago, your hometown these days. She flew us out, and Lucy Yanez and Lawrence Luckenbill and Ashford and Simpson. She had 3 very tight couples on her show. And we felt right at home. And we were novices compared certainly to Ashford and Simpson.
Go ahead,
babe.
No, I just wanted to say, when I told my father that, you know, I'd fallen in love with this actor and that we were working together and blah, blah, blah. And I said, but there's one, there is one thing I should say, and that is he is much younger than I am. And he didn't ask me how old is he or how much younger. He said, that's irrelevant.
There you go.
That's all he said. Because he could see that I was happier than I'd ever been, and and when he met Maxwell and saw us together, there was no question. Age was irrelevant. It didn't come into
Yeah, the big
it.
test was whether I was up to snuff in the acting department. You know, that she'd married a decent actor, not a. And
Everyone's a critic.
yeah, but as Juliet said, she did actually put her career on hold. She sacrificed her career.
Not
Well,
sacrifice.
you were talking about the period up and living on the avocado ranch, which was obviously a dreamy period for us. But we met at a point when Juliet was actually heading back to the UK to reignite her stage career. She'd reached that tricky age for an actress, late 30s in Hollywood, which is, as you know, they start to sort of marginalize you and say, okay, just cool your jets until you can come back and play literally, not just moms, but like grandmothers, you know. I mean, I'm exaggerating to make the point. You may dispute that. And I'd actually just come to New York. I'd been there a couple of years and obviously had aspirations, like most actors do, to make it in the movies as well. And we ended up, actually, I ended up diverting Juliet back to the West Coast, and she didn't question it. She was very, you know, she's very, very generous-hearted. You could say she was following her heart, following her bliss, and it paid off insofar as I told you I'd take over this interview if you brought me into it. But anyway, you guys should close this out, I think, because apparently I'm going to sit in the hot seat next, and you got a very lovely, candid insight into Juliet with your line of questioning, Steve. You know, you were a very beloved character yourself in town. That's why you're getting such a great response from the people you're inviting on the show, and you know, everyone's really happy to see you back, man.
Oh, thank you.
No, I mean it.
Thanks
See, I'm
very
softening.
much.
I'm softening him up.
Yes,
before
you are.
before I sit in this seat.
You know how many questions I have to cross off now? Thank you.
Right on.
Now that he's gone, he'll be back like a bad penny. Is there one thing in particular that you hold on to from your career that really warms your heart?
Well, that's a difficult question in a way. I mean, I've got two answers to it. One thing, of course, I did win an Emmy for QB7, and which was a 6-hour movie.
Right.
I did with a whole host of famous actors, and that warms my heart every time I look at it on our mantle. That was a big prize. And then the other thing that warms my heart is the memory of the Elephant Man doing that play with Maxwell and in Florida and falling in love and waking up on Valentine's Day after we'd opened at the Palm Beach Playhouse to rave reviews. I think the headline said some Mills Caulfield or Caulfield Mills or brilliant or something, and it was like a dream time, a very romantic time. I was brought up by two very romantic people. My father and mother lived a dream romantic life, married life, as I said, for 67 years, and that's what I wanted all my life. And suddenly I had it. And it was magic. It was magic. And I felt magic. And I felt beautiful. And that was the first time that I really felt beautiful, was when Maxwell said, "You are beautiful."
How much did working together impact your lives and your career?
Well, it was always what we love to do more than anything. We've never made a movie together, but we've done some TV together. Aaron Spelling employed us together, but mostly working together has been in the theatre. And we did a play here in Los Angeles. We did the play 1984 by George Orwell in 1984.
Oh.
That was a production that we we did. And that we thought all that stuff was science fiction then. Now it's all real. Terrifying. Anyway, that was that was a production that we put on, an Equity Waiver production, and we love working together. So it always is a good time for us, you know, and we can't actually spend too much time together. Some actors maybe don't like working with their spouse and going home with their spouse and going to bed with their spouse, never getting out. Well, we like that.
That's good to hear. And you have to say that because he's right over there.
Yeah, you're going to get him next.
Yes. What's something you've always wanted to say about your career that no one's ever asked you?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Juliet. It was
Thank
nice talking
you,
with you.
Steve.
And your husband.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Still Here Hollywood is a production of the Still Here Network. All things technical run by Justin Zangerly. Theme music by Brian Sanishin. And executive producer is Jim Lichtenstein.